Hello and welcome back to Susie's Garden. Today we're going to talk about tomatoes and why they're not ripening. If you have a lot of tomatoes and they're just sitting there green and they won't ripen and you're wondering why, I'm going to tell you why they're not ripening, and I'm going to show you ways to help them along so that they could ripen and you could be eating your beautiful tomatoes. Let's get to it. So here's a little tip before you get started. If you've been using your cutters to cut away any diseased plants or vegetables or that have powdery mildew or any other type of disease, you're going to want to disinfect that before you use it on another healthy plant, because if you don't, it's going to transfer the powdery mildew or that disease onto your new plant, which would be horrible, and you don't want to do that. So all you have to do is either wash them with soap and water, or rubbing alcohol to disinfect it, or a disinfectant wipe. So if you have a bunch of tomatoes that are growing on the plant, but for some reason they're taking way too long to ripen, there could be a few different reasons why this is happening. The first reason may be that the tomatoes themselves are not getting enough sun. So there may be foliage covering around it and it's preventing it to get enough sun to ripen. So if that's the case, we need to prune. If you're not getting enough airflow through the plant, that could prevent it also from ripening. So I'm going to show you how to prune your tomato plants so that your tomatoes ripen quickly. As you can see on this tomato plant, I have a lot of tomatoes here, but they've been sitting here for quite some time and they are not ripening. And the reason they're not ripening is because these tomatoes are covered by all this foliage that's preventing it from getting enough sun. Another thing is that even though I prune the bottom of the plant, as you can see, and I did that in the other video where I show you how to prune your tomato plant, I did leave some extended branches out because they had a lot of tomatoes on there and I didn't want to get rid of those tomatoes. But I'm seeing that they're pulling too much energy and they're not letting the actual tomatoes get ripe. So we're going to take away some of these. We're going to prune the tree down about 30% so that the tomatoes that are on here will be able to ripen. This in particular one, if you could see, it's covering the tomatoes. So just removing that alone is going to give it a lot more light. A lot more is going to be able to come to it. We're also going to get rid of all these little suckers that are taking a lot of the energy away. This right here, as you can see right here, this is a sucker. See, it's between these two branches. You want to always remove these. Also, anything that's down below, down here, you want to remove it. Now, if you have a big branch like this, big branch that you're just do not want to remove because It has so many tomatoes on it. What you could do is you could just trim it down. Take all the leaves off that are not producing tomatoes. Plant could focus on the tomatoes that are there and ripen those tomatoes. This had a few baby tomatoes on there, but it's definitely worth cutting off because it's going to let these tomatoes get all the airflow it needs, and it's going to let them get a lot more light. Now I'm going to trim down this branch because there's several tomatoes on here, so I don't want to cut this off because we have on this branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beautiful tomatoes coming in. So I'm just going to trim it down and take away the leaves that don't need to be on there, that are sucking off energy. And we're going to let these mature. Now I don't want to cut too high up because this tomato plant will keep growing upward as long as I don't cut the top of the leaves. If I cut up here, it's going to stunt its growth. So we just want to cut below. You see how I'm letting the sunlight get down into the tomatoes? It was all covered up, and now the sun is going to be able to actually give it what it needs to be able to ripen. Now this is the main stem, so you don't want to do too much on the main stem. You want to definitely leave this alone. There you go, look at that. Look at how much sun is already getting to that. So I got rid of probably, I want to say at least 50% of the plant, which I usually only do 30%. But because I feel like these are not going to ripen, if the energy isn't going, there's already a lot of tomatoes on there, and none of them are ripening. They're just sitting there. It was also covering up the tomatoes behind it and the tomatoes on the side of it. So it was not only not letting this tomato plant get enough sunlight, it wasn't letting the other ones get enough sunlight either. We got rid of all of this foliage and we left the tomato plant a little bit bare, but it still has its main branch, so it's going to be able to continue growing up and producing more tomatoes. but it's going to let these ripen. All the shade that was going on to these plants that were behind it. Now I'm going to prune this one because this one is having a very, very hard time, and also it got damaged. As you can see here, I think someone stepped on it and damaged this branch. So I'm going to cut it away to help prevent any type of disease. So I hope this video was helpful and that now you will be able to prune your tomato plant to get beautiful ripe tomatoes and collect your harvest. If you did like the video and it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really, really encourages me to keep making videos. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe and hit the notification so that you know when I post. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you soon. God bless. Bye.